Hey, what's going on guys? TheBrokenMachine here today with a sniping tutorial for Battlefield 1. Hope you guys are all doing good. Before we get into the mechanics, there is one thing that all players, not just snipers, needs to know, and that is where the center of your screen is. Knowing this will allow you to aim and react to targets much faster and much better. Here's an example of this knowledge being used. The reticle here, the lines on the scope have bugged out, disappeared, but I still managed to hit the shot. Of course, this rarely happens, but it illustrates perfectly why you need to know where the center of your screen is. To do this, all you need to do is aim down sight, picture the center, remember it, done. Try to do this at the start of every game until you just know where it is. Now, if you're new to Battlefield, there are some game mechanics you'll need to get to grips with. First is bullet drop. Depending on the distance to your target, the bullet will drop different amounts. For a great deal of engagements, this won't matter very much and you can just aim for the head and be fine. But for longer ranges, you will need to adjust. There are two ways to counter this. One, pay attention to your first shot. See where it lands and adjust your aim higher or lower as much as looks necessary. New players should follow this method. It's not super hard, it just requires you observing your shots and adjusting. There is a second method, which is called zeroing your weapon. Each rifle is zeroed at 75 meters. If you aim for someone's head at this distance, the shot will connect with little to no bullet drop. You can change this to 150 meters or 300 meters by pressing down on the D-pad. If you're just running about, moving from objective to objective, it's best to keep it at 75 meters and adjust accordingly for targets further than that. Remember, if you do change it and forget, your shot will be way off target. Of course though, if you are sniping at longer ranges, zero the weapon to 300 meters, otherwise leave it and adjust. Knowing how far your enemy is away from you and how much to adjust for will come with time. But there is an easy way to figure it out. Just look at the nearest flag, check the distance, adjust. Now headshots are of course required for guaranteeing a one-shot kill, but there is another way introduced in Battlefield 1, and that is the one-hit kill sweet spot. Not all, but some scout class weapons have this. It's a sweet spot between two distances where you can guarantee a one-shot kill to the upper body. This can be seen in the weapon selection screen. A more detailed view for each weapon can be found on the website simfic.com, link is in the description. Of course, within 100 meters or so, it's always best to aim for the head to guarantee the one shot. You don't want to hit the arms or leg. This new feature just makes it a little bit easier for scouts to be more effective outside of long range engagements. Zeroing your weapon and bullet drop aren't too difficult to get to grip with. Best advice is to pick one weapon, choose one scope and stick with it until you just get it. Far too many new players out there, they change weapons, they change scopes. Don't do that. Really don't do that. New players need to be building knowledge and muscle memory. Switching kits all the time will just mess all that up completely. Now, snipers do rely on accuracy, so make sure you're standing still. In Battlefield, standing still nets you an accuracy bonus, so make sure you're stood still when taking the shot. Also, make sure you're holding your breath. Press down on the left analog or press shift on PC. Don't hold for too long, however, otherwise you'll be swaying all over the place. Some snipers do come with a bipod that deploys automatically. Highly recommend using these for long range sniping. Do avoid scoping in for too long. Scope glint will give your position away. Having a good shot will make a sniper successful, but the real key to being a good sniper is positioning. Avoid rushing in and being aggressive as much as possible. Of course it can be done. Quick scoping can be very effective, but it also can be incredibly difficult when against multiple opponents. Observe, plan, attack in that order. Also remember, snipers are loud, so in close to medium range engagements, if your opponents know you're sniping, they'll likely rush you. So take it easy, don't rush in too quickly, you might get rushed yourself. Try to hold angles, scope around corners if necessary, and use the lean function as much as possible. Highly recommend it. For close range engagements, get into the habit of switching to your secondary. You may not get the headshot or the sweet spot, so be ready. Now, which sniper do you use? Which scope? No scope? Iron sights? Well, the name attached to the weapon is key in helping you decide. Marksman means no scope glint, so less chance of being spotted at longer ranges, especially in dark environments. Sniper, you've got higher magnification scopes, easier for sniping at longer ranges, but you still get the scope glint. Trench, weaker bullets, faster fire rate, same as the experimental. This, as the name suggests, is mainly for trench warfare, mainly close range engagements, that kind of thing. Carbine, better hipfire and moving accuracy. So on the move, probably a good choice to pick these. Infantry, lightweight, recovers faster from recoil and regains accuracy quicker, so more aggressive kind of play. My recommendation is the marksman, particularly the Gewehr 98 marksman. This one I've been doing pretty well with. Some snipers come with scopes, the choice of which is yours. 6 times works well for me, 10 times is best for long range. Have a play, see what works. With these scopes, you also have the choice of reticle. I quite like the beam, it works pretty nice for medium range engagements. Not a fan of the chevron. These are of course pretty much preference. Give each a try and see what works. On some snipers, there are different optics that come with similar reticles. Here is the ring, dot, cross and beam reticle on the SMLE Mark III carbine. Not a huge difference between the four. Personal preference once again. I quite like the red dot myself. For the basic iron sights, you can change to radium sights. Personal preference once again here, radium being my choice. Also recommend having a play with the weapon depth of field option here. You may prefer it off, many do. Personally, I find it much easier to focus on the center of the screen. It's especially helpful when a quick shot is needed. Now lastly, let's talk a few other techniques. We mentioned standing still for better accuracy, aiming for headshots, adjusting for bullet drop and the sweet spot. These are all helpful, but the real key to being a good sniper, not just kills, but also taking and helping your team with the objectives, is your playstyle. Avoid rushing straight into the objective on your own. Scout the area first. Remember, observe, plan, then attack. If you are far away from the objective and your teammates, look at the map and see where they are. How can you help them? Do you need to move up? Always be checking the areas in front of your teammates as well and predict where on the map they may move up to next. Be ready for the next engagement. On console, avoid quick scoping if you can. It's not super difficult, unless you can hit the head consistently though, do avoid it. Drag shots are good for quickly taking down targets. Essentially, you drag the scope across the screen and fire when necessary. Crouch bounce shots aren't very effective outside of close range, usually a technique more suited for like Battlefield 4. Now onto gadgets. Use the flare gun to spot enemies on the minimap. These are great for taking objectives. The flare gun flash version is good for blinding enemies. Great for corridors, that one. K-bullets, they do damage to vehicles. Just press right on the D-pad to use them. Trench periscope is a nice little gadget for long range sniping. Hide behind cover, crouch, peek out of it. Spot your enemies, see what distance they're at, adjust. Awesome. Sniper shield is a great way to get shot in the face. Recommend using these only in darker environments or as a bit of a decoy. Snipe from elsewhere and trick your enemies, that kind of thing. Sniper decoys also have scope glint like real players, quite effective for long range snipers. Put a bunch of these around you, see what happens. You might survive. Tripwire bombs are personal preference. Best placed on objectives or to cover your back, on top of ladders, behind doors, that kind of thing. If you're new to the game, highly recommend practicing sniping on Operations Mode 40 players. The final map is your best bet. Otherwise, find an empty server in the server browser, place down some decoys and have a little practice there. I do hope this guide helps. Any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I do try my best here to reply to all of them. If you want to see some sniping in action, I do have some big kill sniper gameplays up. The commentaries are pretty chill and objective focus. Check my channel for those and subscribe if you haven't done so already. My name is TheBrokenMachine. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Until next time guys, take it easy. Catch you later.